Good afternoon, everyone. It's Anita Menon from hearthealthbrainhealth.com, encouraging healthy grieving and mindful actions. Today, I thought I'd talk to you about another term that is used quite commonly in Sanskrit, which is known as Shri. Shri. So you might have seen this before, and I thought I'd first explain what Shri means in its fullness. So, what does the Shri symbol even mean? So, of course, there's symbols for different things, just like how the word Om has a symbol that's associated with it. Shri has a symbol associated with it. And so, what does it mean? Written as Shri, as in SRI, or Shri as in SHREE, or Shri as in SHRI, it stands for abundance, auspiciousness, affluence, grace, wealth, light, luster, splendor, beauty, loveliness, and authority. And the symbol has been used since Vedic times, and holiness is attached to the word when written or spoken. It is also added before a name to show respect. And this is so important for understanding because there's a lot of people who actually do quote authors, speakers, leaders that use the term Shri, and you might have come across it if you've ever looked up some important quotes from even, let's say, the Bhagavad Gita. But in Vedic scripture, this is definitely a very, very common term, and now you have some understanding. And I'm always about understanding, right? That why do we use something and what does it mean? So this is the information behind Shri. So Shri is also one of these qualities that again is linked with virtue. And I thought I'd read this quotation to you, and it says, it's got no author, but it says, by Lakshmi's presence will come near me the companions of the Devas, along with glory, inner prosperity, and various jewels, and I will be reborn in the realm of Shri. Imagine that, the realm of Shri. So do you understand all of those details are in the realm of Shri? This is an energetic space, and this energetic space is again feminine in quality, and feminine, as I repeat, is both in men and women. This feminine energy is both within men and women. And so I thought I'd also read another quotation because oftentimes when we think about wealth and abundance, many people associate that with not so good. That's greedy, right? Isn't wealth and abundance linked with greed? Yet when we look at it as to how a person is using wealth, abundance, beauty is also part of this abundance that comes from this word Shri. This particular quotation is pretty important even because of its author. The author is Gurudev, Sri Ravi Shankar. So you can imagine how much abundance and beauty is associated with this person. It says, dream the impossible. Know that you were born into this world to do something wonderful and unique. And this is dreaming the impossible. So again, I think a lot of people hear words like that and say, oh yeah, well, that's lucky for some people. Maybe they've been born into wealth and that's like an impossible dream for me. And yet, even people born into wealth may not dream something about abundance that's beyond just financial. And when people are really in that space, many will recognize that, wow, there's a lot more than finances. And you might have heard, as I have both heard and met with, millionaires that become destitute. And there are billionaires who apparently often become broke and have even lived on the street. And this is so interesting, right? Because even wealth did not keep them from that space, right? So wealth in terms of financial abundance, right? Yet all of these things are associated with this word Shri, and it's also again a virtue because using wealth in the right way. So let's say a very wealthy person could use it to give back to the world, right? Because we receive from this world and we give back to this world. And if we do not give back, there are some consequences. And let's say if someone is hoarding money, there are consequences. If someone's lying about money, there are consequences. And this is, of course, what I think of as karma theory. Not only how I think about that, but I do believe in karma. And I do believe that that happens, whether this life or another life, but it happens. And then we can also say one can be poor in spirit, one can be poor in terms of mannerisms, one can be poor in terms of kindness, right? So they might be very specific about speaking to the people who are going to bring money and very not kind to people who are not. And sometimes they're kind with the anticipation that someone might bring me money. So again, to understand why people are holding on to an abundance. I have an abundance of love to give, yet I'm only limiting it to here, is not the same sharing of abundance that the universe shares with us all the time, right? Freely, openly, honestly, right? So all of those things, these things are associated with Shri, this abundance, and coming from that good space when it's associated with virtue, right? So then this other quotation stood out to me. It's by Joseph E. Stiglitz, and it says, the only true and sustainable prosperity is shared prosperity. The only true and sustainable prosperity is shared prosperity. Shared prosperity, I mean, what would we say? Sometimes we can say that, I make a lot of money and I want to give it to my family and I'm sharing it. And that's definitely one way to share. And then some other people will say, I want to share it with my city. I want to share it with my country. I want to share it with the world, right? Whichever way, and whatever's important to ourselves, right? And however much our own consciousness is expanded is how we will share if we choose to share. But it also comes from this space of abundance that is this term Shri. And then finally, I thought I would talk about, I think certainly in North America, but perhaps all around the world, many times when we compare, I encourage not to compare too often, but there is an awareness that oftentimes men are given more money in terms of salaries or even contract work. A lot of times, being a male sex will often bring people more money. Now, a male sex with even more feminine quality might still make more money. And again, this is more in terms of the male energy. So we might see women that make lots of money, and there's a lot of judgment about that too, right? But oftentimes, women are not given the same amount of financial abundance that men are given. And this is just an awareness to have. Yet, when a person is really practicing this space of giving in whatever they can give, that virtue that they're sharing with people, and this could be anything from love to kind communication, it could be from helping people, it could be from writing kindly, any of these things is a way to share an abundance that a person might be carrying, right? So, this quotation for me is to really encourage women to recognize the strength that comes from this space if we truly own this feminine energy that's within all of us. And it's certainly to encourage men too, whether it's to be the voice of strength to help your wife or your partner, or if it's to help yourself of getting in touch with that feminine space of gentleness because it also has a space of prosperity in it. So it says, oh, this is by Kavita Ramdas, by the way, and it says, we need women who are so strong they can be gentle, so educated they can be humble, so fierce they can be compassionate, so passionate they can be rational, and so disciplined they can be free. And this is so important, right? So when we think about freedom, a lot of times people feel that a space of freedom comes from someone who's go, go, go driven and doesn't care about anyone else. And so they're free because they do whatever they want to do. And it's not that. The space of freedom is also the space of non dependency, right? A non attachment. And men and women can become attached to each other, as we know. Women can be attached to other women, men can be attached to other men. But when someone's attached, it's not a space of freedom. Now, a person can be attached to a work, and it's not with the intention of helping all. It's with an intention of, I need to help myself, which comes from that ego space. But when we have an abundance of any sort and we are sharing from that space, it's a whole different freedom. So I'm going to read this quotation one more time and hope it inspires a few people listening. This quotation says, we need women who are so strong they can be gentle, so educated they can be humble, so fierce they can be compassionate, so passionate they can be rational, and so disciplined they can be free. And I don't know about you, but that so touches my heart, my soul. Like, it's so meaningful to me to read these words. They're such beautiful words, and words are just words until they're put into practice. So I hope today, after this video, anyone listening to the video puts 5 minutes into understanding that feminine qualities have an auspiciousness, a gentleness, a love, and a compassion that is beyond anything that is in the material realm. This is a whole different realm we're getting to. Some of you out there might have heard of the difference between a 3D reality that we're living and the 5D reality that is creating. It is being created. We are participating in the creation of this. And this 5D reality is about helping one another, this oneness direction. I wish this for all of us, and I hope you think of this and recognize that these feminine qualities are bringing us there. I wish you a fabulous day ahead, and I hope you remember, transform your mind and transform your life. Have a great day, everyone.